Welcome back to Impulse Plays. This is take two because I don't know how to share my screen. I'm Crazy Carl Winter here with Chris, aka Ten Arms, Enchantress aficionado. How are you doing still, Chris?
I'm doing great. I was doing great before, and I'm still doing great now.
That's good. That's good. And hopefully Ryan, who I've also got with us, is doing well.
I am also doing great, Carl. I am really riding that high from the tournament that we had earlier
Mm-hmm.
today. I had so much fun at that.
Yep.
And fun fact, I actually finished cutting out all of the cards that I had in front of me.
Nice. Yeah, you had like a couple hundred pages worth of cards to make a battle box out of.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty sweet, pretty sweet. Speaking of the tournament today, I played Rifter, which we're gonna look at right here. Chris thankfully was able to make me feel better about my basics choices, even though there's no like set synergy going on between them. I think they're sweet.
You do look very nice.
Yeah, I mean, you put a foil Mercadian Masks land in front of me. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Speaking of gorgeous lands, we've got these nice Rebecca Gay lands on other Chris Morelli's Enchantress list here, which has four Miri's Guiles, unlike the one Miri's Guile that was in the list I showed these guys beforehand. And I know that Chris has some very strong opinions, which we'll get into on Miri's Guile once we get into the match. Um, Beyond that, is there anything weird in this list, Chris, that you're like thinking this is atrocious, you should just not do?
No, what's funny is that this is actually very close to a list that I posted on William Hurst's Well of Knowledge Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple
Shut
of
up.
little changes that looks like yeah. Will Hurst is doing just great job with community with all the content that he puts out. If you haven't checked out, I've got questions podcast. He's great. Lots of really good stuff. Oh yeah. He's doing a great job. I think this is very close to that list that I had posted. It looks like there might be like a second or sorry, a third Sabo's Web. I think that's like two Ray of Revelations rather than like a second Aura of Silence. But this is like very close. It's very close. Yeah, four Mirror's Guile, four Enchantress, four Presence is basically where I start all of my Enchantress lists. Yeah, you just need to have like 12 anchors that will help you keep a hand, at least. And anything below that is like really hard to be more consistent.
All right, so we're getting into game one and getting into the opening hands. We've got Chris mulliganing to
Oh yeah.
six, and that's not so good, but we'll see what happens. Putting the card back, okay. And I think Miri's Guile helps a lot with this mulligan, which will be really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where you can't play like a top deck game. And if you have an Enchantress effect, you need other cards that will like buffer your hand so that you're not mulliganing to oblivion all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Ares Guile is a great job, does a great job at that because sometimes you're just gonna be mulliganing to like five or six, and you're on one land and you don't want to go to four, but then you have a Mirror's Guile and it can actually help you stay in the game. And there's a lot of really cool benefits to playing Mirror's Guile over a card like Sylvan Library, mostly just because you're likely not paying life all the time. But looks like Chris got a turn
Mm-hmm.
two Enchantress, which is really where you want to be.
Yeah, and then he's developing his board further with the presence. Oof.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, so the first couple of turns,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, it's like this is kind of like one of the this is like a good curve. The only way this could have been better is if there had been any like ramp with like a exploration or wild growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, these have been the decks performing at their relative strongest. I mean, I think the only stronger that Enchantress could have done is if there was a maybe a Sarah Sanctum or a Miri Style mixed in here. But I mean, to be fair, Carl did go cycle into cycle.
Yeah, that's really want to be.
Yeah, and
So
that slice and dice is actually like one of the best tools that Rifter has against like these early Enchantress
Mm-hmm.
starts.
Ooh, another enchantress. Is there any benefit to holding the slice and dice? Yeah.
No. Because he already had the presence, right? So like if you just let him untap and then he plays any enchantment, he just immediately draws an extra card. So I think you're supposed to just do it, and then if he has a second Enchantress, oh well,
Right.
that sucks. But like you can't
That makes
take
sense.
that chance. I don't think.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Because
I
it'll just
threw that
run
there.
away with the game.
So yeah, Slices Dice takes out
Yeah,
the
good job.
Enchantress, but he's got another one here. Interesting. Okay.
Hmm.
Draws. And mhm,
Dust Bowl is actually a great card in
mhm.
your deck against Enchantress because Sanctum
Yeah,
is like
shutting on the
just
Sanctum is
so
pretty powerful.
powerful.
It's very important. Okay, so casual draw 2. So I often ask if people want to like get into pre-modern and they say they want Enchantress. I say it's kind of a tough investment because they have to like invest in Sarah Sanctums, which is a lot.
No, I mean, you have to really love Enchantress to want to invest in it because it is not a cheap deck. Oh, here we go. This play, Enlightened Tutor for Aura of Silence is actually a really great way of slowing things down.
Yeah, that's a tax to all the enchantments. It's gonna be really tough to deal with from the Enchantress side, right?
If you can follow this up with a Dust Bowl, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, shutting off that huge mana.
Yeah,
It's
it
gonna be
really
a
does
big
seem
deal.
like Dust Bowl is a much more permanent answer to Cradle and Sanctum, because I've seen a lot of game, I guess, game states where people mainly enjoyers of Wasteland, they're really happy because they can answer the first one, but what happens when they draw the second one and you don't draw your second one?
Right.
It seems like the biggest and most sudden reverse of the advantage bar, if you can kind of
Yeah.
imagine how they do it in chess. Like, advantage bar is pro the person with the strong land when they have it. It's a bit more even once it gets wastelanded, but then once it gets back up, we're back to skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
just a little bit of
Dust
ramp.
Bowl. I agree with you, Ryan. Dust Bowl is one of those cards where it's like I have to pick my opportunity to really get the most mileage out of the Sanctum because I know it's gonna die like basically immediately. Okay, so here's a solitary confinement. Um, with through
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of cards drawn.
yeah, I
It's gonna be tough
mean
to get out of.
you don't really have any pressure on his life total right now. All right,
Yeah, no
getting back the
clock.
Eternal Dragon.
Yeah, not quite where you want to be. It's not gonna make any difference in the game.
Yeah.
Also, having Miri's Guile along with 3 Enchantress effects seems quite good, I would say. You get to look at the top 3, put an enchantment on the top. If you have one, then you get to reset it for next turn.
Yeah, there was a fetch land in there somewhere too, like resetting the top, which
Oh
was
yeah, fetch land would just be the cherry on top.
yeah.
So Chris, I don't know sure you know how this works out, but with double Sylvan Library, do you get to like draw, then shuffle, then draw with a fetch land, or is it like all one
Yeah.
batch? I know it's a little bit different from Miri's Guile, but yeah, I'm not
No,
sure
no,
how
no.
that works.
You resolve the triggers like one at a time, and Sylvan doesn't remember the cards that you put back as cards that you previously drew. Like once you put it back, it's no longer a card that you drew. So, so if you had a bunch of life, you could go pay 8 and then pay 8 again, or pay 4 or whatever. You could do that if you wanted to. You could also fetch in between the Sylvan triggers if you wanted to, but you're already drawing the card by then. So
Right. Okay. Yeah, that
yeah,
makes sense. That makes
there are
sense. So
times where
stop
you're
card's
like
good.
looking for something specific, and if you don't see it on your upkeep, you could like be like, all right, now I'm gonna crack my Sterling Grove and draw it. But like once you are already resolving the Sylvan Library, it's like kind of too late, you know?
Sure, that makes sense. Okay, so we got another Enchantress coming
You're
out.
doing great,
A
dude.
lot of card draw here for Chris. Thanks. It's tough. There's a lot of stuff going on here. We had a lot of missed triggers, but you
Oh.
know, that's how it goes.
He's like, I don't want to go to discard, so I'm just gonna ignore these triggers and forget them. Um,
And I'm not sure how the tournament rules work nowadays with missed triggers. I think you get to like apply them after the fact, depending on who the active player is, but I'm not entirely sure. You guys can probably correct me better than I know.
Correct. And
Yeah. So
you can choose the time that you want that to happen too.
yeah, the big difference is if it's a May. So I'm just looking up the rules text on our both Argothian and Enchantress's presence. They aren't Mays. For example, like if one of them was a May trigger, then the simple solution is, oh, you just
You missed
elected
it.
to not. But yeah, the from what I understand, the current like tournament procedure for missed triggers is your opponent decides to get whether they want to put it on the stack, and given that usually they don't want you drawing 17 cards, that they're going to say no thank you, I would like to not put that on the stack. Versus the way Tabernacle works is that if your opponent forgets their Tabernacle triggers, then one of the few cases where you would want to put a trigger of your opponent's back on the stack.
Yeah, detrimental trigger is what you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Like
is
max
actually
core.
this is actually really important that
Oh
these triggers are
wow.
being missed too, because with 5 Enchantress effects out, like it's very possible that Chris can just deck out. Like that's a real. So these missed triggers are actually pretty huge. Like the way that I do this is once the triggers happen, I'll say like, 4 draws or 3 draws, and I'll put like a die. I'll put like a die down to keep track of them. I also use a die counting from 0 up to keep track of my land drops for exploration, because the board states for Enchantress get like super overwhelming, and playing this deck really heavily over the last year has gotten me much better about that. Like I don't know if you've ever walked by a game of Limited, but it just looks like a hot mess, and like sometimes like that's the vibe that Enchantress gives you, which is just stressful for me. But I've gotten through it over time, and you have to be on top of that.
And it looks like coming up
Yeah, that
soon
makes
we
sense.
have the nightmare question of every aspiring Magic judge's career. We have a humility and an opalescence.
Actually, much easier than a lot of people think. It's just a matter of which one came in last. So
Okay.
humility is gonna basically all enchantments are gonna be textless creatures with no abilities, and they're either 1/1s if humility came in last, or they're 4/4s if opal whatever their power and toughness is based on their casting cost if opalescence came in. Yeah, the Swords to
I think
Plowshares anyway.
humility is
This
first
is
too.
actually like a rare. This is like the rare instance where having Swords to Plowshares main is actually like really good against that. Otherwise, this would be. I mean, you could go like humility into like slice and dice and just like blow up everything, which would be crazy. That's like yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
drawing to slice of dice is huge
But it
here.
is a thing that can surprise Enchantress players. Like, all right, I'm just gonna play these two things at the same time.
Oh, here we have replenish. Okay.
I think we're trying to figure out what's exiled, what's not.
Well,
Like
hmm.
seal cleansing. No, this solitary confinement's
That
exiled.
seal,
I think.
that seal should be coming back. Why is this? What? Oh, why is
I think we're just figuring out what's where.
the Enchantress's presence was exiled from Swords to Plowshares? Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Right.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, that's right. Okay. So drawing to slice and dice.
Well, Carl, you didn't want
And
to
then
bring
that's not
back your
slice and
Eternal
dice.
Dragon here?
No,
No.
no, no, no. I need to draw slice and dice. But yeah, this is I guess I get to like chump block with decree tokens here, but that's not going to be
Yeah.
a permanent solution. So yeah, Chris gets untap.
Right.
Full search with Mir's Guile. And that's gonna.
Looks
I
like
Slice
think
and Dice
Chris
treading water
has
Hardcast
here
is
is
actually a
probably.
legitimate. It's like a legitimate path right now, I think.
Yeah, definitely, because it just kills everything on the board. Unless he untaps and plays like Parallax Wave or something, in which case, yeah, I say updates the
You
solitary
gotta
confinement or
wipe the
upkeeps that
board
solitary
and then
confinement.
decree, right? Because he's got the solitary confinement, which he's gonna sustain that effectively for the rest of the game, unless he decks, which is why those missed triggers are actually playing a big role right now, because he might be like halfway down his deck if those triggers were realized, right?
That makes sense, yeah. So it looks like I can go for this Cycle of Decree here, make 4 tokens, and I block some things, and don't die, but
It's a
then,
great deal.
I mean, eventually I'm gonna die. Yeah, if you can tell us how many missed triggers we have, I will send you a foil select dog anywhere in the world. Okay, that's fine. No worries. So I chump block with some tokens here, keep myself alive, and Chris
Yeah, wait.
then
Haven't
just
the
wins?
shouldn't you just have been? Oh no, I'm sorry. I missed the whole you cycled for a lot. Okay.
That's okay. I was talking about Psychotogs. It's not a big deal. It's just how things go. This is just the writing on the wall. I'm gonna just die because Chris has a million creatures and
Okay.
Yeah,
That
you're
makes
you're
Saracen
just
can get a
buying
bunch of
time
mana.
because
Yeah.
your out right now is hardcast slice and dice, which would be a huge game if you could find it. Now
And
with
Oh,
that,
yeah.
yeah.
now slice and dice isn't enough
Uh,
anymore. Now he can save. Now he can save everything.
yeah. Now
And now
slice.
Yeah, not gonna
he
get out
just
of
drew
this.
the Words of Wilding, so now he'll never deck. Okay.
And that's game. Yeah.
Yep.
Going to game 2, thinking about different things I could sideboard. I'm not sure if I bring in Cursed Totems and or Exalted Angels. Um,
I think the
it's
grasses.
Zaba's Web.
That's fine. It's Swords to Plowshares comes out likely. Aura of Silence is great. You could make an argument for Circle of Protection red. Elephant Grass is fine. You could probably cut Solitary Confinement. Sacred Ground's really only good against Dust Bowl, but you can do that with Saba's Web, which is also fine. What are you bringing in, Carl? I think you're
Yeah,
bringing in
probably
those
the
seals.
Exalted Angels. Yeah, probably. But yeah, beyond that, I'm not sure. There's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I would assume the Rune of Protection. I'm assuming that's Rune of Protection artifacts. I don't think that is super great, so that probably comes out. Let's see what else probably comes out.
Okay, switching mic on the fly because my
Swords to
Blade
Plowshares
stopped
and
working.
the runes definitely come out, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think there's an argument that you can make for bringing in Curse Totem because it turns off Opal Wave.
Oh, okay. A bit of failing to execute the full combo, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, because no tide. Huh. That's really interesting. I never would
Yeah,
have thought
I
of
think I'd bring in Exalted Angels. I'm not sure though.
Angels. I guess would Exalted Angels be more to just try and establish a faster clock?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
just
so.
try to be the
I think so.
beatdown because you don't want the
Okay.
game to go like mega long. Usually,
Right.
Rifter wants the game to go really long, but this is a matchup where it wants to be the aggressor, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That Slice and Dice was timely on the Enchantress, which is great.
Yeah.
So Chris, I think, missed a land drop. It looks like.
That is not ideal when you're playing Enchantress, I don't think.
No, I think he was counting on the Enchantress to play the Guile and draw another land and start like digging.
Mm-hmm.
But you handled that timely with the Slice and Dice. So if you can keep the Enchantresses off the table, you could stifle that early development, right? Like the first
Right.
early turns of the game are so crucial for Enchantress that if they get stopped, in those early turns, if that development is stopped, you can just prevent them from ever getting the engine going, and then they just
Right.
kind of just flounder, you know?
Yeah, it's like a slow moving truck, and it hits a speed bump, but it like doesn't go over the speed bump, so it like stops for a little bit, and then you can kind
Yeah.
of respond to it.
Yeah, loses a lot of MPG.
Yeah, sure
You
does,
know?
sure does. Oh boy. Okay, so I've got my engine going, which is great. I've got Eternal Dragon. I guess all I
Oh
really
yeah,
need is for Chris to
you're
dismiss
doing
lands.
you're doing great right now.
Yeah, I'm skillfully making Chris not draw lands.
Yeah, Slice and Dice is actually just like such a sick, underrated card in the format, and
No
very
doubt.
few decks get
No
to
doubt.
utilize it, right? Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the red decks are like aggro decks, right? There's not a
Mm-hmm.
lot of like red control decks, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact in the Fall Brawl, I'm playing a very bad version of the Spanish Nationals winning Panza deck. I say bad because I'm playing Thawing Glaciers. I'm playing A, too
Oh
many
God, I
Thawing
love that
Glaciers,
card so much.
and B, they're not feeding Grimlavomancer, so it is just a poor addition to the deck, but it's fun, but it's not good.
This sounds like right up my alley.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I mean, I'm playing my Andy Culpepper signed Shard Phoenixes. I'm super thrilled.
Oh, it's very cool. Okay,
Okay.
so Sterling Grove is like a good start.
Mm-hmm.
But
Unfortunately, I
you're
have a
just like I
clock.
don't even yeah, you're just like I don't even want to do that. I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Right.
Let's get these soldiers in.
Bring back the
Let's get
dragon.
these
You gotta have a level of comfort to bring back Eternal Dragon, right? Like you just don't spend that 5 mana for no reason.
I fun fact, I actually played a version of Enchantress where I tested Eternal Dragon in it.
Interesting. I can't imagine that it's good, but it sounds sweet.
It didn't really jive with the rest of what the deck was doing, but there were
Right.
definitely times where I was able to keep a hand where I had only forests, and I was
Mm-hmm.
able to use the dragon to go find a plains.
Mm,
I think it's still. I probably gave up on it too quickly, but it is like a thing that you can do. And there were definitely games where I just tapped a Sarah Sanctum for a bunch of mana and just cast a dragon and killed people with it, which felt amazing.
nice.
Especially like post board if they don't see it game one. But
Mm-hmm. Love it.
It does
I
feel
would
like
love.
something that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
I was gonna say that it does seem like it would fill up these slots for eating removal spells, because like you were talking about earlier, if people have Opal Wave, Curse Sword and preventing that, um, if they have a certain, it seems like is there a way? No, because they can just Opal Wave everything.
Yeah,
I
there's
was
no
thinking
like
about
trick bind. You have to
yeah,
have trick bind, like split second type effects to really stop it, or have them have not enough fading counters. Like there's just no good way in the format to do
Yeah,
it
it's
reliably.
yeah. Gary Roth, aka Darkview on Discord, wrote a really interesting write up on Parallax Wave that I don't know if he's published it yet, but
Mm-hmm.
he allowed me to read it before it was finished. And
Mm-hmm.
there's like he does a really good job of laying out a lot of different scenarios. So hopefully he
Nice.
posts that sometime soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is getting back to the game really quick. That seal of cleansing on the presence was
It's
like
huge. Yeah.
so timely. You got to bring back the dragon and play a land and kill the presence and attack for two. Like
That's a pretty good turn seven.
you're
Yeah.
kind of yeah. You're doing it. Yeah, you're doing a good job of keeping those engine pieces off of the table. And like this is a
Yeah.
situation where like Sylvan Library would be pretty decent, right? Because then you
Yeah.
can be like, all right, I'm gonna pay some life for an extra card,
Yep.
but
There's a clock, but it's not a fast clock.
it's not a fast clock. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Another Enchantress comes out, but it looks like Chris does not have anything to go with it. And he really, yeah, he just needs to get an engine going, and I mean, that's Enchantress in a nutshell, right? Like it's an engine, and that engine needs to fire, otherwise you're just doing stone cold nothing.
Yeah. Which is kind of like what I was saying about Mary's Guile earlier, just getting that out ASAP to just like ensure yeah, it just digs you into whatever you need. My match at LobsterCon against Lanny, I was at one life and I had one turn to draw Sanctum, and it was the third card down. Like Mary's Guile won me that. It was Mary's Guile and Xanad Swarm, but it's a whole bunch of different things. But yeah, Guile I actually would not have been able to win that game if that Guile had been a Sylvan because I didn't actually have the mana to. It's like because I got Parallax tided like 4 times that game.
I remember my point from earlier. I was trying to say how if with Opalescence, if they're trying to, burn removal spells, if they feel like they need to on the Exalted Angel because of the clock, um, or I mean because of the dragon, but I guess that's the same thing that Eternal Dragon would do. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's a yeah. that's the rub is like you get into these weird like situations where you're just so low on cards and you find a confinement but you have like no material in hand, so you actually end up having to like let it die. Here you go. Yeah, cool, perfect. So you're just hard casting the dragon. Yeah, and that's like such a perfect timing because I actually watched Jaws last night before I went to bed, so the smelling blood is definitely on my mind right now.
Solitary confinement is kind of doing just fog duty at this point. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, you have to be making progress. It, yeah, the fact that he didn't play a card just feels like he's just kind of delaying the inevitable here. Like you got to just let it die and then just start chaining off as much as you can. Like if you didn't like the cards on top, he could crack the Grove and potentially put another Enchantress's presence on top and start digging to try to find like a replenish or a wave or something. But here's what I can't tell what the last card in his hand is. That's the vibe I'm getting, yeah. So there's a brush land, and I couldn't tell what the first and third cards were. Mm. This isn't good, right? Because he's gonna be in a situation where he was gonna have to sacrifice the solitary confinement anyway, except all he's done is grant you 2 turns. So if you were gonna do that anyway, yeah, you just do it sooner than later and just try to like dig as soon as possible because you've had multiple turns now to like add more stuff to the board, right? You could even play that second dragon too if you wanted to. Ooh. Ooh, that furnace is actually really nice too because replenish is a way that he could potentially get back into the game. Yeah, he's yeah. What I'm saying, you can't you can't actually furnace him right the bottom of the card. Yeah, you can't do that right now. Uh, yeah. But there's gonna be a point where he had to let the confinement die. So like in response to a replenish, you could get rid of hit anything really, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. So this is what I was thinking he was gonna do, just crack the Grove to go get a presence, which honestly he should have just done 2 turns. Yeah, he should have just done 2 turns. Well, he's gonna draw the presence, right? And then he's gonna play it, and then draw the plow, which is good, and then he's gonna plow a dragon, and then get to see an extra, an extra 2 cards on his next turn, which is not bad. Correct. Yes. There's a lot going on this game state. Like barely more complicated than checkers, you know? One day, maybe Magic will achieve the high complicated status of Yu-Gi-Oh, and then we can feel really, then we can feel really smart about ourselves. Okay, yeah. So I imagine, yeah, swords. So you know, I would love for Chris to just have 2 more cards in his hand here.
No doubt.
So if he had cracked the Grove before all this confinement nonsense, if he had cracked the Grove for Enchantress's presence instead of discarding that Mary's Guile, he could have played from his hand. He could have just gone Presence, Mary's Guile, and drawn 2 cards and dug deeper. Oh, that is a slice and dice for 1. So 1 Enchantress down. Ooh.
Yep, not where you
Yep.
want to be.
Oh, this is so huge.
Yeah, you have effectively like dismantled him on this turn, and now he has no cards in hand. He's got some guiles, but like this,
Right.
this dragon is promising to go coast to coast here.
Yeah, Eternal Dragon's a pretty good card. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Three-
mention.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are possibilities where it would be good to get rid of the furnace with seal cleansing, or do you think that that should be saved for if Chris had hit a wave?
I would say you like Chris should hold the seal in case an aura or a humility comes down.
Well,
Those
it
are,
doesn't do
like,
anything
pretty
against
important.
humility, but it does for aura, yeah. Well, I guess it
There,
was
there was a
play, yeah.
there was
That's
no
true, yeah.
opalescence.
That's
in
true,
play,
yeah. Never mind,
right?
never mind. I'm wrong. Yep, no, you're right. Yep. Though if there's a humility in play, he gets to beat down with his Argothian Enchantresses.
I've done it. It feels weird. It's like she's been radicalized. Like she's no longer this like peaceful pacifist. Like
Mm-hmm. But she's very humble.
Yeah.
She's very, very humble.
All traditional ways of increasing her power have failed. This
Mhm.
will not.
yeah. Sometimes it's you
She-
gotta yeah. She's like these previous methods of peace are no longer working.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
ceases to be mindful and demure. She just goes from there.
I
Did I use the meme right? Did I meme correctly, kids?
Yeah,
Did I do it?
feel
Okay,
like
yeah.
I feel like you're doing great.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
this is great. So he's
Oh,
going
is this into
turn 1
Enchantress?
guile.
Oh no. Okay, Sterling Grove. That's
Oh,
not
okay.
so bad for me. Okay. I think
So
I have a
shields
slice and
down on the
dice.
Grove.
Yeah. I don't
This is
think
a
I have a.
situation that always kind of makes my butt pucker, where it's like you're just throwing out this like very defenseless Grove where like it's
Mhm.
just begging to be sealed.
Yep. I got a lightning
oh.
rift. Okay, so that's the game we're playing here. I see.
I mean, again, I think you're the aggressor here. I mean, you saw last game, right? You
Yeah.
beat down with dragons and soldiers. It was like
Mhm. I'm like turn
getting
12,
this.
but yeah.
Oh, sure. I mean, that honestly kind of felt like an early game for this match, but
Yeah, no doubt.
but the rift is gonna like really whittle Chris's life down.
Yeah, I mean, it puts pressure on, right? And it's difficult to interact with. He's got. Let me go back and look at his deck list. He's got some seal cleansings, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, 3 seals main, and I'm assuming he should have brought in a 4th seal and an aura and maybe some Ray of Revelations in the sideboard. So he's got answers
Yeah.
to it, but
They're not immediately at hand. So okay, so he's got the
okay,
turn
yeah,
3
see,
presence. Yeah, that's nice for him.
Carl, I saw the Enlightened Tutor in your hand because I was thinking about like if
Mhm.
he gets if Chris gets second Grove, then his enchantments are effectively untouchable unless he chooses to sack one of the Groves.
Correct. I drew it on second turn, so I could have instead of playing
Well-
Lightning Rift, Enlightened Tutored for a seal or a Aura of Silence. I guess I just chose not to.
Oh no, I was saying on this third turn, did you? I mean, I don't know if you had the Battlefield Forge already in hand, but you could have gone Enlightened Tutor, just draw the seal cleansing.
Yeah, I'm guessing I did not because I probably would have gone for that. Unless I'm just
Okay.
like going aggro rift, which I think has merit too.
it does. I mean, Chris
Yeah.
hasn't really done much the first 3 turns.
Mm-hmm.
He's the first few turns are really just setup turns anyway. Okay,
Right.
that's
Oh my goodness! Wow.
That's strong.
I'm just thinking
Yeah,
about it in terms of like it seems like Enchantress is very pillow forty, and
Mhm.
being
Yep.
able to turn off the ability to set up one of the highest, uninteractable pillow fort setups, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so Carl, you just
Okay.
drew an Aura of Silence, which is big
Oh
game.
wow.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
well, that's one of the ways to get out of that fort.
Hmm. The Rifter fans will be happy to hear that I have cleansing meditation in my sideboard now in Rifter. So it is not in this
Cleansing
deck, but
meditation.
it's a
What is that?
tranquility. But when you have threshold, any enchantments you destroy of your own come back into play under your control.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
strong.
yeah, it's a big deal.
All right, so Aura comes down. Yeah, that's gonna buy time, like a non-zero amount. Unless he draws like exactly Sarah Sanctum, right? And then he just powers through it, which he did in game one. But
Yeah, which is what the Guile is going to try to help him find, but
mm-hmm. I've got a decree. Okay, so I got some pressure I can apply. Unless Chris draws like something insane. Let's see if we can see this Mirror's Guile. He's being rude, not showing us. I literally just craned my head to try and see around the cards. That's not how that works. Okay, so he goes for the
I have a
draw.
feeling we're going to see it
Yep.
soon. It looks like it was a
Yeah.
seal of cleansing, maybe.
Okay. Not ideal for him, but like it takes
Does
the
he have the
aura sounds off the
land?
table. For steel cleansing, yeah, he's got planes. Oh, he has to have 4. That's right. I forgot about that.
He's just double checking the top two.
Yeah, I think he's just rearranging them after the fact. Yeah,
Okay.
which is fine. We're just jamming for fun. Looks like there's an
Yeah,
Argothian. Yeah, there's the seal, but yeah, I don't think there's a 4th land there, so he's just gonna go for the Argothian Enchantress
yeah.
and hope. Is there any merit to like now that he has 3 Enchantresses in play? Is there any merit to sacking the Sterling Grove to go get a Miri's Guile or I don't think he has Elephant Grass anymore, or like a Wild Growth or
Uh,
something?
yeah, or exploration. I definitely
Mm-hmm.
would. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you need. I would go get an exploration to
Mm-hmm.
fight through the Aura of Silence.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you had the slice and dice, which is so good.
Yeah. As the Rifter players want to do, with all 3 of them in the main deck. There really should probably be 4 in the main deck. I need to
Oh,
rearrange that deck. It's Lightning or Slice and Dice is so good.
Given the fact that you
really
just
good.
had the natural turn 2 rift,
Mm-hmm.
having every game action you've taken except for the casting and, I'm assuming eventual activation of Aura Silence, it's just slowly whittling down at Chris's health.
Yeah, yeah, he's getting
Like he's
low.
at 13 from, I mean, he fetched 3 times, but you've spent 2 mana to deal 6 damage?
Yeah, it's not
4
bad.
damage, excuse me?
It's
Yeah,
not bad.
Chris is missing way too many land drops, so I
Mm-hmm.
would be cracking that Grove on end step to go to find
Reset the top of
an
your library, get
exploration.
a thing to cast. Yeah.
Yeah, just try to find some lands. You can't like just stay stuck under this aura. Oh, you got
No.
the humility.
Yeah, which I
Oh.
mean, it's fine, but it's giving him an attacker that he didn't have before. Like it shuts off an Enchantress, but there's 2 presences in play, so
I mean,
I mean, I
that's
guess it's
fine.
fine. Yeah, it's probably fine.
Well,
Yeah.
it
You
is an
don't
attacker
you're
that you
sitting
can.
Yeah, I can now Lightning Rift the Argothian Enchantress, which I couldn't do before, which is pretty sweet.
exactly. Okay, so he found the fourth land finally.
All
Got there
right.
eventually. So that's the key to being Enchantress is having them just not draw lands.
Or just mana denial in general is a
Right. Yeah.
fantastic plan for that. Oh, you
Yep.
gotta pay
Okay.
four for that,
Yep.
buddy.
He forgot. Yep. He remembered the thing.
All
Yeah,
right.
good.
So, so he's got the double
He
presence trigger.
two
So
draws, yep.
you got to take out the Aura Sounds here, right? Like I think he's deciding between the two, but there's no way your enchantment based deck can leave a double force spike on each enchantment in play.
Yeah, you gotta take out the aura. So unfortunately, this does open him up to a 2-for-1 because you can just respond back by killing the Grove.
Yep. Yep.
But it'll be interesting to see what he prioritizes.
I wonder if
Yeah.
there's any merit to waiting another turn. I guess I don't know what his top 2 cards are, but wait for the 5th land so that he can then sacrifice the Grove to get some value out of it. I don't know.
Or just untap, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think he should have used the Grove earlier to go find an exploration anyway, because
Yeah,
then
for
he could
sure, for
potentially
sure.
have more than 4 lands right now.
Yeah, but that is not the world we're
I
living in. So I think there might be merit to either waiting to untap or try and draw the 5th land, or wait to the 5th land to drop the seal.
I
But
also don't know all the different cards that are in his hand either, so that's
that's
like
true. Yeah, there's a lot of
hard to
variables.
know where his head's at. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Get the lightning rift
Oh
off
yeah.
of the Eternal
Two
Dragon.
more.
Such a sweet
Here, I
interaction.
mean, you've got a million lands in play, and
Mm-hmm.
you are.
Bowling
Oh,
the brushland.
yeah.
How's that non-basic
It was.
feeling, nerd? All right, so I
Sometimes
saw
I
a
just
Windswept
don't
Teeth.
even want to play Brushland.
I get it. Yeah.
Did it look? It kind of looked like he looked at 4 there. Was it 3?
There's 3. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Okay.
3. It's got a fetch.
Fetchland is huge.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Reset that Mirror's Guile. Get a it's just it's got a lot going for him there. All right, this is gonna be a pretty big turn. I think this is where he's either gonna turn the corner or die because he's at 8.
Yeah, how many lands do you have in play? I mean,
It's like
is it
6.
just yeah? Is there a card underneath that secluded step? Maybe it's 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just 6.
Second.
There might be a
Oh,
land
another
of the
Sterling
steps
Grove
there.
here is enormous.
That is pretty good.
So
Yep. Also,
but
notably,
you've
I think
got
I tried to talk Chris into this. He did not attack with his Argothian Enchantress for a long, long time. Maybe
Yeah,
2 or
I
3 turns,
mean,
but
you don't
still.
have cards with haste in your deck.
Yep.
And there's a humility on the board.
Yeah, I guess it's relevant to not do it when I have mana open because I can cycle to Creative Justice. But with I have no mana open, there's just no reason to not attack,
it's a
right?
free attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a free attack. Might as well
It's,
get frisky.
yeah, it's one of those niche situations that just don't come up very often. But like you kind of like that's like one of the next steps you take as a Magic player is you like identify those weird situations and take advantage of them.
Yeah, I mean, there have been plenty of times where I've attacked with a Dryad Arbor and a Noble Hierarch. Well,
Mm-hmm.
just the Dryad Arbor in Infect.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Great time.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, so here, yeah, you don't attack with the Enchantress, but yeah, he's at 6. That's
no, you
not
can't do it
very good.
here. You just get ambushed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see why you might have thought it was 4 cards earlier, Ryan, because I cut out the thinking about the Mirror's Guile.
Oh,
there's a
okay,
lot-
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thinking about what cards to order with Mirror's Guile is
It takes a non-zero amount of time, and it happened many, many times this match. For reference, the unedited footage of this match is about an hour and a half long.
okay.
Holy wow.
Part of that was a distraction because we had somebody come in the house and talk with us for like 5 or 10 minutes, but that's not all of it. Yeah, a lot of it was Mirror's
Okay.
Guile and shuffling.
Oh my god, look at this. Just putting him to 2. This is huge.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
This is huge.
He's got to draw Solitary Confinement here, right? Otherwise, he's just. Oh, no, he has Solitary Confinement. Oh, that was in response to Solitary Confinement. Okay, yeah.
It was in
paying
response
attention.
while I was on the stack. Yeah.
Okay, okay. This is challenging for me. Oh, I've got Curse Totem. That's pretty
Oh,
sweet.
you did bring the Curse Totem in. Good job, Carl.
Thank you. I'm proud of myself. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to matter because I have to destroy Sterling Grove and then Solitary Confinement,
Right.
which is not going to be easy. Well, I was playing Earthquake. Oh, that wouldn't help either. Maggot
Domain?
Feeder. Tranquil Domain would be pretty
not
good.
in green. Not green.
Yeah. Unfortunately, life loss is not a pillar of how red-white works. Okay, so you kept in Elephant Grass, which I think is fine. Like it helps slow down Decree of Justice.
Sure.
It also
it's
increases
defensible.
the 1 mana green enchantment count.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. You
Yep.
need velocity sometimes where you're just like digging through and you just need to draw a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can always, let it die later, or if he's got a Sanctum, he just pays for grass one time because it's mana neutral anyway.
Yeah. I love these foreign black bordered wild growths. They're just I like foreign black bordered cards in general in pre-modern. Just like the saturation is really nice on the colors and
Agreed. I like the colors are really deep.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it seems like it's a crime to have white bordered cards. Is
No.
that true?
They have their own nostalgic charm. There you go. He's finally attacking with the Enchantress.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they have their own nostalgic charm. I don't like them personally, but that's that's just me. There are some people who really like it.
He went to 1. I missed that. What happened?
He fetched. Yeah.
Okay.
Because 1 is functionally the same as 2 at this point, so that's the only difference is like tapping a brushland for colored mana, but he's only got 3 brushlands left.
He's got the Solitary Confinement anyway, right? So.
Oh yeah, it does damage. It's not a loss of life. My bad. Yeah, no, good call.
Did he just discard a replenish?
I
Is he
think
just
so. I
that's surprising.
Maybe he just has another one. It doesn't matter.
Um,
He just doesn't care.
Hmm.
Weird.
Seems like a good
Uh,
day to get an Eternal Dragon back.
might
Yep.
as well, right? Yeah.
Ooh, Enlightened Tutor. Is that what you drew?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to tutor for though. Let me look at this main deck on the sideboard. I Why have I not played this? I guess I haven't had the mana open to cast Curse Totem, but Curse Totem is going to be not unimportant, right? Like,
Well, he's got
should
to
he
win
roll houses?
somehow.
Right. I mean, he's got that Argothian Enchantress, so that'll get you there.
I mean, you can still cycle and kill the Enchantress, right?
That's
Like,
true. I can. I can. I have not done so, but because I've not deemed it worthy of my attention, apparently. But
no, you shouldn't.
yeah. Okay. So let's see
I don't think so.
the Elephant Grass go. I think he had
That
the other
seems right.
replenish sitting on top of his library, so he just didn't care about the second one. It's not like I'm gonna remand it or something, or mana tithe it.
Mana Tithe. What a card. What would that do to pre-modern, I wonder?
I don't know. I was
It
thinking
would
earlier
make
today.
white. Oh, go
Make
ahead,
white very
Carl.
good. I was thinking earlier today because we were discussing how black is kind of like the weakest color in pre-modern. Like, what would be the next weakest color after black? And I'm really not sure.
Hmm, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, like as like a mono color deck, right? Like, because like mono black is rough, but there's a lot of really good black support cards that people play, mostly discard, but like there's also like removal spells and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know.
Probably white is the weakest monocolor deck, I think.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. All right, so nice little pay two, draw two.
I'd probably put red and blue as like the top two monocolor decks. Green is also like not super great.
I don't know.
Green
Yeah,
and white
Yeah,
are better support colors.
yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
I mean it's the
Okay,
classic battle
humility.
of elves versus goblins, but
Right.
Yeah, we know who wins that one.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Taking out the humility is a really big game here.
It opens up a lot of play patterns that he would not have like a lot of options he would not have otherwise, right?
You just need him to stumble once. It's gonna be tough with drawing
Yeah.
3 cards per spell now, but
Yeah, it's
he
not
could also
deterministic, but
just
it's pretty close, right? It's just not. Yeah, it's very low chance that I'm gonna get there. The casual observer looks at this game and says, "Oh, 1 life to 16. That's so close." Like it's just not.
the first 19 points of life are always free.
They really
It's the
are. It's
last
that
one that
last
you have to
one.
pay for.
That last one's a
The last
bugger.
one you have
Yep. Yeah. Pay. Did you know Green has Ancestral Recall? Actually, Green has like 11 or 12 Ancestral Recalls. Seems.
to
Oof.
Exploration is such a good card. I'm actually up to 4 now, and
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I feel like it's a good 4 of Enchantress.
yeah, I've been up to 4 lately. I was on 3 at LobsterCon, and it
Mm-hmm.
felt great the entire
Yeah.
weekend.
Yep. I could understand that.
You need a good amount of single green enchantments that you can
Mm-hmm.
play turn 1
Mm-hmm.
to enable a Sanctum as your only other land on turn 2 to tap for mana so you can play an
Right.
Enchantress. It
Yeah.
happens actually a lot, and Elephant Grass isn't going to do it. I'm actually just down to like 3 grasses, but I'm on 4 Guile, 4 Wild Growth, 4 Exploration, and it's made a difference. Like I've felt it. The vibes are definitely a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Doesn't.
even with elephant grass, if you want to go 1 mana green enchantment on one, you can't do that with and then Argothian Enchantress on two. You can't do that with grass.
Yeah.
Nope.
And it seems like that would be a pretty strong play pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to besmirch Chris's play here, but like this is like the least impressive replenish I think I've ever seen.
I've definitely had less impressive replenishes than this,
Yeah, that's fair.
but
He's got no
sometimes you have to
blessings
do it
though,
at a
so yeah.
I, the thing that's really important here is he got back a second Sterling Grove.
Yeah. Yep. And I do not have cleansing medication in this sideboard, so that is not an option I have available to me.
Opalescence
Double
also
grove.
turned the clock into 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's gonna speed the game up quite a bit here.
So I'm curious.
I think Chris is thinking about discarding.
Wait, just Carl, do you even have any outs at this point?
Slice and dice.
Slice and dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
Doesn't do anything.
well,
That
no,
you.
actually, no, he's tapped out. If he was not tapped out, he could sacrifice Sterling Grove, sacrifice both Sterling Groves, kill the Opalescence with the Seal Cleansing, and then draw another Opalescence at some point. But yeah, it's just not there for me.
Oh, that seal that you drew was just like a little
Not
late.
on time. Not on time.
Yeah.
All right, well played from Chris's side. That's a strong showing from Enchantress.
The fact that you took a game off of it is actually really impressive. I think Chris maybe made a couple of strategic mistakes in game 2, and you capitalized on it like immediately.
Mhm.
So I think that was really well played on your part. But yeah,
Thank you.
game 3, it kind of just did the thing, which is what it
Yeah.
does.
Oh, for sure. And Chris did a good job of. I mean, he was being patient. He was taking his time. Like he wasn't in any rush. Like he knew where the pressure was coming from. Like it was pretty. Like my play patterns are pretty binary. Like it's I have mana. I rift you, but like once I was tapped out, he knew he could just go for whatever he wanted, which was pretty strong.
You got him down to like 2
Mm-hmm.
with that lightning rift. I mean,
Yep.
plus the fetches and stuff. I mean, you got him really really low on life, which
Yep.
was
No doubt.
so close.
Yeah, which makes me think if I might have missed there's possibly I missed a rift activation somewhere in there. So another point of interaction, if you can give me a timestamp in the comments, viewers, of where I missed a rift interaction activation in game 3, I will also send you a signed Psychotog anywhere in the world.
Sick.
I'm all about it. I love signing Psychotogs. It's so much fun.
Psychotog's a great card.
It
Played
really
a lot
is.
of that card back in vintage, my old vintage days.
No doubt,
Like,
no doubt.
yeah,
Carl,
you haven't
have you
lived.
played Growatog a lot?
No, I don't have Mox Diamond, so I haven't played it. I also
No.
think that deck is weird. I'm not a huge fan of it, but yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I played Growatog back in vintage when it was like Gush, Merchant Scroll,
Fast Bond. Yep.
oh yeah, like before all that stuff got restricted, like that deck
Mm-hmm.
was bonkers. And
Yep.
now I'm like, this in pre-modern, I'm like, this deck literally would not exist if Mox Diamond was
No, it'd
was
be
banned.
atrocious. It'd be atrocious, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a sweet match. It was a bit of a slog, but it's that's how these slow white-based control decks go, right? Like it just takes a little while.
There's a green white version of Slide that doesn't
Oh
play
yeah,
Lightning Rift.
plays
The
Mox Diamond and Astral
Cartographer.
Slide. Yeah, I love that deck. That looks super sweet. If I were to play a Mox Diamond deck, that's what I would play.
Yeah, I would love to see you play that in a future event and then commentate on that, and then it could
Nice
be like a true green white
mirror
face
match.
off. Yeah,
Well, I know
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Ben has Mox Diamonds. Maybe I'll borrow them at some point and I'll build the Astral Slide Cartographer deck. If you'd like to see that, let us know in the comments. Yeah, so sweet match. Thank you guys very much for coming on to commentate. Chris, I think we have one more Enchantress match at some point. Maybe we'll do I was discussing with you on Discord. It's not super interesting, but if we need content, we need content. So we'll go with that.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm always happy to talk Enchantress or just watch games of Magic in general. So
No
I'm
doubt.
watching them in my free time anyway. So you might as well have me on and talk about it.
For
So
sure. Yeah, I'm all about it. Yeah. All right. Well, Ryan, thank you for joining us. Chris, thanks for coming on. And for me and everybody else, have a good rest of the night, everybody.
thanks, guys.